Hello, everybody. I'm Natalie, and this is Scientology Life After a Cult, where we recap the Scientology news that has the internet buzzing. And I share about my experience 35 years in Scientology, 3 generations of my family, and most importantly, that we left. Welcome. If this is your first time here, I would love it if you hit that subscribe button. If you've been here before, check your button. Hit that like button on the way in. It's going to help us with notifications, getting those out as well. Thank you very much to my mods who work so hard. Nancy's here today, and my Tony is here as well. Thank you. I appreciate all of you being here. If you catch this on the replay, be sure to jump into the conversation. Let me know where you're watching from, what you think, what your questions are. And thank you to everyone who sends me links and timestamps and information they see on the internet and find interesting about Scientology. You can email that to natalie@lifeafteraCult.com. I truly appreciate it. The more specific you can be about what it is that I'm looking at, the better. Truly appreciate it. Helps me get all this together. Okay, we have a lot to go over as per usual. Some fun stuff today, some not so fun stuff. We're going to talk about how Scientology's Purification rundown may have a tie to heart disease. We're also going to talk about Scientology and nightmares. We're going to talk more about Grant and Elena Cardone's GoFundMe scam that they're doing. That's getting called out all over the place. We're going to touch on a little bit of Danny Masterson news. The LA Times just came out with an article about the protests happening in LA. We're going to touch on some LAPD corruption and protest news from around the country as well. So let's take a look here. Let's jump over to, we're going to start with, this is about, okay, now this article, this news segment here is not about the purification rundown. Inside, it's about niacin. But here's the tie-in. Scientology does a service called the Purification Rundown. Some of you might be familiar, where a Scientologist, including children, they market this to children as well, spend 5 hours a day in a sauna, sweating out toxins and drugs that are deposited in their fatty tissues. At least that is what they are told. And they take high levels of niacin. They start at about 100 milligrams and work up to 5,000 milligrams of niacin, which is the goal. And we're just going to just listen to a little bit of this about what is being found now as it relates to niacin, especially high amounts of niacin. In fact, they're not even in this article. What they're talking about when they refer to high levels of niacin is nothing like what Scientology has people take on the Purification Rundown. So you can only imagine how much worse it probably is for people who've done that, myself included. Back in the day, I think I did it when I was around 16. So let's check it out.
Links this increased risk of heart disease and stroke with some
up here. This has been actually a topic for quite some time about this niacin reaction, niacin tie with Scientology and how it could be affecting people physically. And so that's why this really caught my eye, because I was like, what? All right, listen.
Links this increased risk of heart disease and stroke with something that's in a lot of the multivitamins you can buy in the store, something a lot of people take every day, vitamin B3, also known as niacin. It's been recommended by doctors to help lower cholesterol. And it's pretty common in the Western diet. We get it in stuff like meat, fish, nuts, beans, brown rice, and fortified cereals. Researchers say it's that last one, fortified cereal, that may be the problem, because the average American is getting too much niacin, nearly 3 times the amount that's recommended you have every day. Dr.
Okay, that's 16 milligrams, 48 milligrams in cereal. If that's too much, then how are people on the Purification Rundown in Scientology having 100 milligrams to start to 5,000 milligrams of niacin? This is just crazy, and I wanted to bring it up. I think it's something that somebody who knows more than me about the medical side of this maybe could do a deep dive, and we could put something together and, share it with whoever those agencies are that should be monitoring this, because it's absolutely dangerous, and it's insane to think that you could take that much, that people on the Purification Rundown in Scientology take those levels of niacin, which are now being tied to heart disease. That That is actually heartbreaking. Now we're going to take a look at the Holy Rogue. There's a link down below to all the videos that I'm going to share today. He's talking about something really interesting that I hear often, and I've experienced this myself. And he's talking about nightmares for ex-Scientologists and what these nightmares are like. And I thought it was interesting because it reminds us again why we're doing this, why we're sharing about this, why these protests are happening, what these abuses are, and the effects that it has on everyday people. I do believe this gentleman was a staff member in Scientology, but let's take a little listen to what he has to say. Link down below to his channel where you can subscribe as well.
Is that you don't even know if it's abuse. You don't even know it's abuse until you get out and somebody points it out to you because you think it's normal. So I want to talk today about Scientology and nightmares. I know most ex-Scientologists have it. I know some of them are very dreadful. Mine don't compare to what others have gone through and suffer from. And I just wanted to say that they occur. I've been, 13 years out, and I still get them. Now, for me, I get a recurring nightmare. It's the one where I want to leave so bad. I'm on staff, and I want to just get out. I hate it. I hated being there. But you're surrounded by, on purpose, Scientologists who, if you even gave a cent of wanting to leave, you're going to be stared down. So I remember always thinking, like, I have to sneak out.
Isn't that it's just so interesting to me. I've spoken to so many ex-Scientologists and myself included, and nightmares. I mean, that's just all part of the PTSD. And I wanted to share that. And he goes into depth on his channel about his experience and how it has affected him. I definitely recommend you take a look, subscribe, show him some love and support there as well. My nightmares, I've also been out for 13 years, are few and far between now, but it went on fairly regularly for close to a decade. And mine usually involve them coming to get me. And the worst part of it is when if sometimes in my nightmare, I would just give in apathetically and go back. And that was the worst part of it. It reminded me of, you ever have a dream, in real life, say that you're married or you have a partner and you have a dream that you cheat and you wake up and it was so real that you're like, oh my gosh, what did I do? Why did I do that? Or maybe that was only me. But these nightmares are like that. It feels really real, but I guess that's the thing with nightmares. So I thought that was interesting and very, very brave and open of him to share those things because it's really personal, but I think it goes a long way in educating and helping people understand the long-term effects of being in Scientology and why it needs to shut down and why it's a cult as well. Now, there has been more buzz on the internet about this whole Elena and Grant Cardone thing where they're fundraising. And I brought this up the other day, and I'm just going to remind you guys again, it has nothing to do. We're not talking about the politics of this. It's the fact that Elena and Grant Cardone are self-proclaimed billionaires and are raising money for another billionaire. But there is a YouTube creator, and I linked down below to his whole video that has a whole take on it that I thought was great. Let's give it a little look and a listen.
There is no beneficiary listed on this GoFundMe. If you're not familiar with GoFundMe's terms, you can have a beneficiary if you're raising money on someone else's behalf, which confused me because I said to myself, Elena Cardone, Grant's wife, is raising money for Donald Trump. I mean, like how's it going to get to him? How do we know it's going to get to him? How do we know they're not, sorry to be cynical about Grant Cardone to assume that their family likes another penny in their pocket, but how do we know they're not just going to just take the money, right? What, you're going to sue for your $25? Really? No. And also, I noticed, even if you don't raise the full amount, you'll get the amount. So maybe they could say, oh, well, we didn't raise the full amount, so we'll just keep it for ourselves. And then the language in here is a little strange too, which also gave me a lot of questions. He says, or she says, this is more than a legal fund. It's a call to all business owners. Well, no, actually, it's not even a legal fund. But if it is anything, it should be illegal. You don't say, I am always sketched out when, you're asking me for money and you go, this is about more than money.
He does. The video is not very long. I think it's even less than 12 minutes. Go ahead and check it out. After this, there's a link down below for it. I just love that they're being called out on this. And many people have reported, because per the GoFundMe rules, you're not supposed to raise money for legal defense and financial fraud and all those things. And they did. And people have been reporting it. There is a link to there's more on my community page. If you go on there on my channel and scroll down to see more on this as well. Yesterday, I had the pleasure of interviewing Surrounded by Scientologists, Clearwater George, who's been out there with multiple people in Clearwater and protesting, live streaming right there in Florida at the Flagland base in Clearwater. And he shared a story that was just creepy as all get out. So, of course, because it was creepy as all get out, I'm going to expose you all to it in case you missed it. And George he's never been in Scientology, but he has lived in the area. Look at my face. Oh my gosh. I think that says it all. So we're just going to give a little listen to this story that George is telling. And this is Surrounded by Scientology over in Clearwater. Our man, George.
Other stories. A friend of mine is the phone repair guy. And so he would tell stories about putting phones in at the Hacienda Gardens and at Sherwood Forest. He said, George,
and these are motels that Scientology owns and runs.
Walk in, and there's 8 mattresses on the floor in this 2-bedroom apartment, 1 bathroom, and there's these 8 people in there, and they have a phone for whatever their purpose is.
And in the chat, I said, creeped out as all get out.
He's describing this. And he already had some run-ins, so he knew what Scientology is all about. And I'm going to come back to the L. Ron office for a second. But after he described that to me, I heard Leah Remini in the aftermath. She describes that same situation, walking up to the Sherwood Gardens in Clearwater, swinging the door open with her kids and going, 8 mattresses on the floor in a 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartment. This is Clearwater, Florida. This is what we signed up for.
And he's referencing when Leah Remini shared her story about going and seeing what the living conditions were like there in Florida back in the day. And this is, and honestly, when I first heard it, when he was saying it, it was creepy, but it wasn't the worst that I've seen. My first thought was, oh, just 8? Because when I was there were bunk beds 3 or 4 high, just one after the other, like you would find in a large prison area. And, but it's funny, I thought that 8, and they were on the floor, you didn't even have to climb up, but that's still so bad and creepy. And that people who, work on utilities, the phone would go in and see these things. And I think this has a lot to do why Scientology and the C organization, they really try to have all of their own people for this internally. I remember when they went through a whole thing trying to recruit tradespeople into the C organization. It's something that I think they continue to do to avoid this exact situation of outside people coming in and seeing what things are like. The fact that they let a phone company person in when there's 8 mattresses on the floor in one room, right? One bathroom. This is like just one small hotel room. Shows you that whoever set this up wasn't even thinking that anything was wrong with that. Oh, let's let the phone man come in because nothing's weird here. And that says a lot about that lack of understanding in recognizing that this is an abusive situation. It's so normalized. So I thought that was interesting. Aaron, growing up in Scientology, touched on something we talked about the other day when I shared about JD Daly. Oh, I'm having a brain fart, but you know who I mean. Shared a video where he talked about Danny Masterson being attacked and he's being moved. And Aaron talks about that as well. It was confirmed that happened, and the special treatment that he's getting, which really irks me. So I wanted to share this so that you could be equally irked with me, because the special treatment is really bothering me. I don't condone violence towards him, but it just seems like they're kind of going overboard with the special treatment. At least that's what I'm thinking. So let's listen to this.
So this is really interesting. And I got to tell you, there's something about it that disappoints me a little bit, that his transfer wasn't the result of what occurred. And here's the reason why that disappoints me. It means they were going to transfer him anyway. It means, okay, here's why that's disappointing to me. I keep hearing that CMC East, where he is, the California Men's Colony East, people are referring to this location as somehow a much nicer, better, I don't know, easier, safer, I don't know, location than where he was in Corcoran. Now, you guys know, I don't know the first thing about prisons other than, you know, what I've learned from talking to Tommy. But if Corcoran was a level 3 facility, and if CMC East is a level 3 facility, what the next conversation that I need to have, and maybe JD, maybe that's a conversation you and I can have. If both of these facilities are level 3 facilities, then what is it about CMC East that makes it a more cushy, cozy, better environment for Danny?
That's something that I'm sure Aaron and hopefully JD and him will do this together. And what he's talking about is how we knew that Danny was being moved, but there was speculation about, was he being moved because of the altercation, right? Because of what happened to him. And what Aaron's saying is, no, they were already going to move him, which really reeks of some serious special treatment. And Aaron even makes a point of saying, and I agree, I mean, in ways he's getting treated better than the protesters in Los Angeles, in Hollywood, and in other places are as well. Now, the LA Times came out with an article. I do believe this is just out. So we're going to take a look at this. And let's see what we got here. You see it there? Oh, yes. ASAP Lizzie, exactly. JD said it takes at least 2 years. 2 years of good behavior for this to happen. So in prison, 2 years of good behavior, then you get moved to the cushy place. But he's going straight to being moved to the cushy place. Whatever. All right, so let's take a look at this. This just came out. This is the LA Times. Anti-Scientology protests lead to arrests and allegations of attacks. There's a war going on. That's outside that Celebrity Center there, where the Manor Hotel also is. Let's see. Let's read some of this. I think we got time. Until about a year ago, William Gude had no issues with the Church of Scientology. The self-proclaimed cop watcher and activist, better known by his social media handle at Film the Police LA, did not understand why the LA-based religion, started by L. Ron Hubbard, got so much flack. That was until Gude tried to record video of police making an arrest outside one of Scientology buildings last year. Gude alleges he was harassed by Scientology security guards who told him he could not shoot video on the public sidewalk. Although the allegation pales in comparison with others against the church, it set Gude off. Quote, I told them I'm going to end your religion, Gude said in an interview. Now Gude, and this is a weird way of wording this, now Gude and his gaggle of anti-Scientology protesters are brawling publicly with the organization. They've demonstrated outside its major facilities, as well as those of businesses perceived to be cozy with Scientology. Sometimes 100 or more people show up at the protests, Gude said. They say the church has tried to stop them, called the police on them, and sent people out to harass them. The tactics of the protesters can be aggravating to their targets. They approach Scientology properties and yell at and record people, though they do so on public property, which is legal. There is a war going on, Gude said. Gude's group is just the latest of many to protest against the church, which has been dogged by controversy for decades. And his complaints will sound familiar to former members and other critics who've tangled with it publicly. The church disputes everything Gude and his group say, and alleges the, quote, hate group is not made up of protesters, but agitators and bigoted harassers of religious people. That's always Scientology take. If you question them, if you confront them about abuses, you're a religious bigot. That's how they try to position it. Scientologists have been harassed and attacked. The church and Scientologists have dealt with these religious hate crimes in accordance with the law. By the way, this is a quote from Karen Powell, if it really is her. The church and Scientologists have dealt with these religious hate crimes in accordance with the law. We have filed police reports and have alerted the appropriate federal authorities to these threats and hate crimes, Karen Powell, the religion spokesperson, said in an email. And I stress that because no one's really seen her. It's always just in writing or in an email that you hear from her. Frankly, I don't even know. I hope she's okay. Powell also said the group has called in bomb and fire threats, costing hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxpayer money. So she's blaming the protesters for those calls. That's rich. That's rich, Karen. Very rich, Karen. Denying important public services for real needs in our community, disturbing the peace and disturbing places of worship. Really, Karen? Disturbing places of worship? There's no worship in Scientology. You act like we don't know that, like we've never stepped foot in a Scientology organization. Why is anti-religious discrimination and hate with the stated goal of closing churches and causing harm to parishioners, new and old alike, tolerable? Not even the Los Angeles Times would consider these actions acceptable if aimed at a synagogue or a mosque, she said. Again, this is what they do. Fall back on this religious persecution card. For one, no one's trying to shut down any other churches. It's just Scientology. It's very specific to Scientology. But this is Cult 101 tactics out of the L100 playbook on what they do. The battle most recently culminated in the arrest Friday of 3 anti-Scientology protesters outside La Poubelle, a cafe and bar on Franklin Avenue across from the Scientology Celebrity Center, after they clashed with people who were not even Scientologists. Protesters had targeted the watering hole because its owner, Francois Coster, penned a letter to a judge in support of actor and Scientologist Danny Masterson after his conviction on multiple counts of rape. The letter was especially galling to anti-Scientology activists because one of Masterson's victims alleged that she lost consciousness after Masterson gave her a drink at La Poubelle. She regained consciousness the next morning in pain, and Masterson told her they had had sex. According to her testimony at trial, Coster did not immediately respond to her request for comment. Protesters gathered outside La Poubelle on Friday, telling potential patrons not to go into the bar and suggesting that people's drinks might be spiked with drugs. Details from the Los Angeles police, and for one, back up there, they were telling people what Danny Masterson did. At least that's what I heard. Details from the Los Angeles Police Department about the 3 arrests February 16th are scarce and shrouded in bureaucratic cop speak. I love that they call that out. Police said that 2 people came to the Hollywood station around 10:30 p.m. and reported a battery to officers. Police followed up on the report to the 5900 block of Franklin Avenue, which is where La Poubelle is located. And remember, that's right across the street from Scientology Celebrity Center. There, officers arrested 2 suspects, a police news release said. But while they are making those arrests, police were alerted to a second physical altercation at the location and made a 3rd arrest of another battery suspect. That's DOA, Scotty, defender of ants. The 3 people arrested, Daniel Valletta Gonzalez, Cameron, I don't know if Cam pronounces his last name Ivan, but I'm going to go with that, and Scott Hochstetter were booked on suspicion of conspiracy and suspicion of unlawfully using tear gas. Okay, so this is a bit longer, so I'm not going to read the whole thing, but you get the gist, and there's a link down below where you can read the whole thing. We got to keep rolling because we have limited time and a lot to go through. I just cannot with some of this, especially the response from Scientology, from Karen. It's the same thing, cut and paste. We are being religiously discriminated against. I don't know why people don't like the fact that we're child traffickers, human traffickers, commit abuses, hide abuses, and so on and so on. She could at least be honest about it, Karen. All right, so let's see. There's a link down below that I have as well that I want to share. I'm not gonna play it now, but if you guys get a chance, go down and check it out. It is about an LAPD officer who was killed under suspicious circumstances after whistleblowing about some a situation and corruption in the LAPD. There's a link down below. We got a lot to cover, so I'm not going to share that one, but I wanted to bring it up and make it known and have you guys take a look at that and be aware of it. Now, yesterday, in Down the Rabbit Hole News, William Gude, Scientology Audit Streets LA, was on there. And she did a great interview with him. Definitely check out the whole thing. We're going to just watch a snippet of it.
To try to stop us. But no, none of this is scary. Not much going to scare me, and they definitely do not.
So like last weekend, you were definitely knowing where to go. You caught these LAPD officers watching the streamers, watching people. Yeah. I was like, whoa, like that was amazing. And to me, what made you, like, what is your intuition? What tells you, let me go check out this route, or let me go look over here?
Yeah, listen, it's just one of those things that, you know, like I said, I'm a cop watcher, been cop watching for years. People always ask me, do I use a scanner to follow around the police? Rarely. I usually just kind of go off of, I guess, intuition, go off of patterns of behavior. What happened was I was actually standing off to the side, talking to my chat, and I saw a police car race through a light. And it seemed like, and it was racing north, so it was going north into the Hollywood Hills, where really there wasn't a reason for them to go that way. And the way they went speeding like that made me think that he just didn't want to be seen, that officer. And there was a reason for that. So I looked at where he went to, and I saw he went up about a block. So I said, let me walk over there and see what's going on. I have a feeling they're staging over there. I went over there, and lo and behold, they were staging. I'm used to them staging. I've caught them staging a couple of times. It's usually what they'll do is they'll stage a couple of cop cars over there, and they probably send around one of the many unmarked police cars to monitor the activists. And then if they see anything that happens where they can actually use it against the activists, they'll roll in with the police. This time was a little bit different. So yeah, they were sitting around, they were looking at their cell phones, looking at video of the protests and discussing it. And I just kind of came over there and blew up their little get together.
You did.
He did. If you caught that, this was the night of when the protesters were assaulted and arrested. And it was so great because I was watching it live on his stream at the time, and he's like, what is that? And he goes and follows, and what does he find? Just what he said. They were all staged there watching the live stream, plotting and planning who they were going to go arrest. But I love that she shared that. We are going to hop over to Portland because, oh my goodness, there's been stuff happening in Portland. Quite a few things. Link down below to this creator's channel. She has an interaction with, whether it's a Scientologist, Scientology operative, is unsure, definitely connected to Scientology based off the way that he responds, which is do what they do. Never defend, always attack. Here it is in action. This is in Portland. Link down below for this creator.
I don't. Hello. Were you meeting people here, or are you out here to watch me question the, what is it, pushing the narrative? That's a good thing. Am I on? I am down here taking a look at the Scientology building. But yeah, what are you up to?
Wait for my wife.
Oh, is she inside maybe?
She's out shopping.
Oh, okay.
I don't really want my picture taken.
Well,
I've taken yours about 10 times.
Well, that's
fine.
Hey, whoa, he touched my camera. Don't fucking touch my camera. Hey, if you are public people, there's a protest going on here. I'm a one-person protest, and this person, you do it on camera. Why would you hit my camera? That's actually assault. I didn't touch you.
It's not assault, woman.
That I gotta be honest. This part here chaps my ass because he says it's not assault, woman. Oh.
I asked you to put your camera down.
Well, you
will not put your camera down.
It's the public.
Please
I can
put your camera down.
No.
Please do not take my picture. Please do not take my picture.
That guy is out here. This person is like
part of OSA, he says he's waiting for his wife who's shopping. He was.
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely not waiting for his wife who's shopping, but total creep, total creepy. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that, except I'm glad that she caught that interaction on video and was able to share that with us. And again, that happened outside Portland. She's doing more live streaming in Portland, link down below. And again, I encourage you to subscribe to these different creators who are out there live streaming and protesting Scientology. We're also going to go take a look now at, this is also in Portland. It's also in Portland. This is Hey Carrie Ann, and she was down there shutting down Scientology in Portland, getting them to use their shade tech, as we like to call it, which I guess is better than manure tech, which they do around Celebrity Center, where they put manure all around to scare people away. This is Scientology shade tech, and Carrie Ann has showed up before and gotten them to shut it down.
Only 12 minutes, guys. Well, I think those random walkers by helped, but did she forget a window? Does this window not work? Ah, here she comes. Now it's closed.
I love Carrie Ann out there. She's doing a great job over in Portland. A lot more happening out there. And again, link down below for her channel. Go ahead and sub it up as well. We're going to hop over to Denver and see what Jay is up to. I interviewed Jay the other night, and we got to kind of know him better and what has inspired him to get involved and protest Scientology this way. I've been happy to see more people showing up in Denver to go ahead and do this with Jay, so he's not alone. Because that night he got picked up by the police, he was alone. And for me, that was scary. The mom in me is always saying, don't go alone. Don't go alone. Don't go alone. And he had somebody out there yesterday who showed up too with a sign and was out there showing people with a sign that Scientology is a cult. Jay also had a couple tips for protesters that he wanted to share. And I thought I would help amplify that message.
Yeah, anybody could go out to their local Scientology and hold a sign. They're going to hate it, guys. Even if you're just doing a static recording where you're not live, you're recording your interaction so you have proof of how that all happened. Yeah, anybody could do it, guys. So be brave, be courageous, and make sure you're smart about it. You know what I mean? And yeah. Let's see. So I believe he's spreading the good word of why we're out here.
I love that. I love that that other guy showed up and was helping out as well and spreading the message and talking to people and letting them know about Scientology. Love that. I just love Jay. All right. Jeff at PTS for Life. I'm going to be interviewing Jeff, I believe next week. I think it might be on Monday, but I'll get out a notification. But I'm going to be chatting with Jeff over at PTS for Life. He did this great short here, Dear Scientologist, and I think it's very impactful, and I wanted to share it. Make sure you guys see it. Check it out. We're here for you when you're ready. Ooh, that gave me chills. That was so great. And that's Jeff over at PTS for Life. He's doing a great job. I cannot wait to talk to him, find out more about his story and, what he's doing, him and his wife. So we'll be talking next week for sure. Be sure to hit that notification bell here on my channel and the subscribe button, because then hopefully you get notifications when I do these interviews, because you catch me here every morning, but I do the interviews later, usually around 5:30 or so Central Time, which is the time zone that I'm in. And today I'm going to be doing an interview at 5:30 Central Time with Jessica Palmadessa. That's going to be this evening. So hit your notification bell so you can get the notification and not miss that. I'm pretty sure it's Wednesday. Is today Wednesday? I think it is. Okay. Now, over in Clearwater, as you know, we talked to Surrounded by Scientology George. We even got to talk to Lori Plays for a little bit yesterday. Check out that video on my channel if you haven't seen it already. And Lori jumped in because George was having some technical difficulties. They're just having fun out there in Clearwater. I love what they're doing. And they were having fun with a little bit of Scientology protest bingo, the Liz Gale edition. So I think maybe Liz put it together, Liz Gale here on YouTube. I just thought this was fun. Wanted to share it.
Oh, did you already start your stream?
And
Yeah, once you start it, they don't like to let you change it.
all right, so we're gonna look for some of these things. Oh my gosh, it's hysterical. We know where they all are, that's for sure. Public member, volcano. Nope, we don't have one of those.
Security camera, a window with shades drawn. I just love it. They're just having fun in Florida. Now, also at Clearwater, Spit Clearwater shared this. It's a short that he has of a Scientologist. Scientology, they're just like they lock the doors and they're locking Scientologists out. I'm not 100% positive, but I think this is a Sea Org member. And you'll notice that Sea Organization members, more than anybody, do not want to be recorded, do not want to be on camera. I'm speculating when I say this, but I think there's a strong possibility that they are being told that they will be punished if they are caught on camera. Because think about it. If you have family members outside of Scientology and you're in the Sea Organization and your family hasn't seen you for how long or been in touch with you, and they see you on one of these streams, they might decide to reach out again. And that can create problems and situations for the Sea Organization and for these members, which I hope happens. But I think that's part of why they hide so much from the cameras, especially the Sea Organization members and the ones who've been there for a long time. So I don't know for sure if this lady was Sea Org or not, but she's hiding behind the pillar.
Camera. Really, don't be afraid.
I thought Scientologists were supposed to have good confront skills, converse on any topic. Isn't communication the universal solvent? I mean, if a child can go through a sec check, can't you walk past a camera?
Somebody open the door, let this nice lady in, please.
It's chilly outside.
It's cold.
She's out here too long, she's going to get an FPRD.
FPRD is the false purpose rundown, and it's what's delivered to Scientologists when Scientology feels you're stepping out of pocket a little bit too much. You're doing things or expressing views that they don't agree with. It is a very straight line to reprogramming. That's usually what they do. It's also done to prepare you for the upper levels on the bridge to total freedom. To prepare you for those levels, you do the false purpose rundown, which again is to get rid of any potential evil intentions you have against Scientology.
Sec check for sure.
It looks like she's on a timeout in the corner.
Oh my gosh. Oh man.
Thanks for letting her in. She's waiting for
It's cold outside, dude. You got to stop doing that.
Yeah, then they let her in. Once again, Scientology locking out their own people. All right, now let's head over to Austin, where, remember, this is a big, big weekend. It's actually a big weekend in multiple ways when it comes to Scientology and Scientology protests. Because in Austin, February 24th, you've got the opening of their Ideal organization. Pearl Snappy's going to be there with multiple other people. We're going to be doing check-ins with her. Hopefully a little bit of red carpet. What are people wearing to this event? Who's showing up? Then in Los Angeles, you have more protests are going to be going on. You've got Jessica Palmadessa. We're going to chat with her tonight. She's been working on getting a permit to be able to shut down L. Ron Hubbard Way. Hopefully we can find out more about that. Liz Gale, Liz Ferris, Oh No Nora, and others are flying out to be part of this protest. In fact, Thursday night before Friday, I think we're going to be able to check in with Liz and maybe a couple other people and find out what the plan is and what their thoughts are and what they're feeling heading out to Los Angeles. But for now, let's take a little bit of a look at Pearl Snappy in Austin, where she's out there doing her thing, singing her music, bringing joy. And she's also, the police show up.
Getting by, it's all taken and no giving. They will use your mind and your whole line of credit. It's enough to make you PTSD if you let it.
I just want to make sure you know you're not welcome on the property. Do not touch the property.
I have never.
Do not try to come in.
I've never. No, I did not. I did not bang on the windows. You have cameras, and so do I. I have never. I have never. They have cameras, and also I have video that I can show you of me here yesterday where I didn't touch anything. But I would not. Thank you very much. I will not. Is there?
More peaceful. Also, like you're allowed to do what you're doing right now. Just make sure you're not amplifying the noise to a level that would be considered.
I know. I made sure that I was aware of all the laws. They're just going to keep doing this to you until they open because they don't like the fact that I have the First Amendment. They're going to make up lies. They've been doing this in Hollywood. So we're very familiar with their poor attempts at shutting me up. So in Denver.
I just want to make sure that you.
Is there a report being funded?
Yep. She's out there letting them know. This girl, she knows the law. She knows the rules. She checks the actual decibel levels to make sure that it's not beyond what it should be. And I just love the fact that she now has a microphone and a PA, and we could really hear her music so much better. I'm not positive if the lady with the glasses is a Scientologist. I suspect, because why would she be out there? When you head over to Pearl Snappy's channel, you're also going to want to check out, she's doing a reaction video with KK of a Scientology graduation with some leaked videos. And it is hilarious what they go over. And you also get real insight into what a Scientology graduation looks like. There's a woman who's there who's sharing her trip to Flag to Florida. And she's sharing about the experience. And it was interesting to me because she's talking about how the teleprompter and what you have to do and how they made her change her shoes and all this stuff. It just really gives you a behind the scenes look at the propaganda machine. And that is on Pearl Snappy's page. You can, or on her channel, you can catch it there. Now, I did an update yesterday. I also interviewed Laura FM and Jacob Harkey about DOA Scotty, because yesterday we were told he is going to go before a judge. Yesterday morning, we expected that around 8:30. It was rescheduled for today. So they're actually going to be out there today. I know that Laura FM is going to be there. Jacob's going to be there, and they are going to do an update immediately following. So on one of their two channels, I'm sure they're going to share that. We're hoping that it will also be with DOA, that they're just going to let them go. So we're going to find out. That's happening today. It could be as early as 8:30 a.m. That's California time. So there'll be an update later. Everybody watch for that. And I'm sure we'll recap it here as well to find out. And he'll need to get his van out, which is also his home because he's a van lifer. Here's his Cash App. The mods are sharing links also in the chat if you want to contribute and help him out with some expenses. There are multiple protesters who've been arrested and are going to need that kind of help. And this is what it is for Scotty. So if you can help out, that'd be great. Otherwise, subscribe to their channels, get on there and like, comment, help get their message out. That's another great way of being able to help out as well. Squirrel SPTV saying high doses of niacin available via prescription can cause severe skin flushing combined with dizziness, rapid heartbeat, itching, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and pain, liver damage, and diabetes. Wow. So much more. And that's in reference to the Purification rundown done in Scientology, promoted to children. They have children do this too, where they're taking dangerously high levels of niacin, which we now know. There was a report out, I think it was yesterday. I shared that earlier if you missed it. of where the medical community is saying high doses of niacin can be a large contributor to heart disease because it actually causes inflammation. So this is not good news for Scientology or Scientologists. This is some dangerous stuff. Dangerous stuff. And more about the niacin. Fizzy, yes, penned a letter. It's not 1970. That's right. Was that from the LA Times article? I thought that was so interesting. Remember, if you see something, say something. I have a new email now. It's natalie@lifeafteroccult.com. If you want to send me Scientology news you see, things on the internet that you find interesting, it's super helpful if you either send a clip of it or if you send a link to the video to send a timestamp and tell me what we're looking at there so I can more quickly find it. There's so much happening and going on that we can't even share everything in the time we have. I think eventually we might get to the point where I might have to do 2 roundups a day, which I'm totally here for. Long as I still can work in my interviews. Honestly, that's probably one of my favorite things to do. Really in life, I love sharing people's stories, and we're just able to do a glimpse of that here during when I do these recaps of Scientology. But when I have a chance to sit down and interview people, I really, really love that. Thank you so much for being here. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, reach out if you see anything to my email. Truly appreciate your support for not just me, but everybody in the SPTV community, in the Ex-Scientology community, in the protester community, in all of it. Truly appreciate it. I hope you guys all get out today and have an amazing cult-free day.